What's up, folks? Welcome to this special edition of Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Stu Myrick here. It is Friday night, just after 9 p.m. Central, here in the beautiful city of Austin, Texas. As I said, this is a special edition, a short one, but with what has happened over the last 24, 36 hours, I felt the need to at least come on and talk about it for a moment. We are, we are less than 24 hours away from the WWE Royal Rumble coming up tomorrow night from Tropicana Field in Tampa. Of course, streaming live on Peacock. And I guess should start with what broke yesterday. This was forgive me. There are many outlets that have reported on this since. I think Wall Street Journal broke the story first. Yesterday, a lawsuit was filed in Connecticut against Vince McMahon, against WWE. Also mentioned John Laurinaitis by a young lady named Janelle Grant. It was the lawsuit accused him of physical, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and sex trafficking. That was a big one. I'm not going to go into the details because, they're lurid, they're horrendous. The lawsuits out there are, links. Go to your favorite wrestling news site. You can see it. I'll go with Wrestling Observer, but Fightful and Wrestling Inc., all our friends there. So that lawsuit was filed yesterday. The news broke yesterday kind of mid-afternoon. Well, early afternoon, actually. So that came about. TKO Group, of course, now the parent company for WWE, they issued a statement. Vince McMahon issued a statement. Now, fast forward to tonight. In fact, it just broke maybe an hour and a half ago, maybe 90 minutes ago. I believe Deadline was the first to report it, but other outlets have picked it up, including ESPN, including Sports Illustrated, and all the wrestling news sites. Vince McMahon has resigned as the executive chairman of the board of directors for TKO Group and WWE. Now, this is a little different than when he resigned, quote unquote, beginning of 2022 with all the allegations. At that time, WWE was still its own company. He was still the majority shareholder, and so he was able to force his way back in. This time he's not. I saw something Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics put out that I think right now he owns about, it's less than 20% of the stock. And so he is not the majority shareholder anymore. He doesn't have the super voting power. It started out, there was a email that was, to staff on tonight from Nick Khan, the president of WWE, basically informing everyone that McMahon had resigned. He will no longer have a role with either TKO or WWE. Vince McMahon put out a statement, and I will. Let me see. I'll read it. I stand by my prior statement that Mrs. Grant lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene, made-up instances that never occurred, and is a vindictive distortion of the truth. I intend to vigorously defend myself against these baseless accusations and look forward to clearing my name. However, out of respect for the WWE Universe, the extraordinary TKO business, and its board members and shareholders, partners and constituents, and all of the employees and superstars who helped make WWE into the global leader it is today, I've decided to resign from my executive chairmanship and the TKO board of directors effective immediately. This is, as I said, this one's different. In fact, well, I posted on Twitter at SGTW I reposted, it was Sean Ross Sapp's tweet about Vince McMahon resigning, and basically put the tagline, maybe this time it sticks. I got to believe this time it sticks. Look, it should have stuck 2 years ago when all the accusations, all these, the accusation, the hush money and the NDAs, and it was him and Laurinaitis and all this. When he resigned, quote unquote, that should have been it. But then he forced his way back in, allegedly to facilitate the sale of WWE. We all remember, Vince taking over the book again from Triple H, and what, you could tell what happened. But again, this time, now you're dealing with TKO, a parent company, who's not only they got to think of their stockholders, they're thinking of advertisers. There was talk, there was a news broke that coming off the news yesterday about the lawsuit, Slim Jim had announced that it was pausing its sponsorships with WWE due to the allegations against McMahon. Okay, now you're hitting the advertisers. It's one thing, if it's your company and, you feel you deserve to stick around. But you got a parent company who may start losing advertisers over this. They're going to say, okay, it's time to go home. He's 79 now, 78, 79, something like that. 79 years old. It has become abundantly clear that, look, give him credit. He built the empire. Going all the way back to the early 80s when he bought the Capital Wrestling Corporation from his father, Vince McMahon Sr., turned it into the World Wrestling Federation, started poaching the talent from all the territories, and made it into the juggernaut. And you look throughout the last 4 decades. Well, now going into its 5th decade, and you see there was a good chunk of time where he was the only game in town, especially after March of 2001 when he bought WCW. And I say that with all the love I have for TNA, for Ring of Honor. The fact of the matter is, WWE had the monopoly. And it wasn't really until AEW came about that you finally had a challenger. Well, even now, AEW, I don't think they're challenging anytime soon. They're doing okay. But again, and part of that is McMahon's no longer in charge. So, you got to believe that with these allegations, this new one, I mean, and look, we've seen, we've heard sexual abuse, sexual misconduct, physical, but then you tie in the word sex trafficking. This month, in fact, January is National Human Trafficking Awareness Month. I know this because my real job, which is with a state agency within the state of Texas, making a big push on human trafficking awareness. That's one of those words that, you hear it and ears perk up. So when this lawsuit, Janelle Grant accusing Vince McMahon of sex trafficking her, that's pretty serious. Now, look, again, the lawsuit still has to be, dealt with. But if these allegations, or even a piece of them are true, you gotta believe that's, I heard Lance Storm on Wrestling Observer Live yesterday. Basically said, look, if these are true, not only should he be out, but criminal charges should also be filed. Now, I don't know about statute of limitations. I don't know about, any of that as far as, it would probably have to happen in the state of Connecticut. But, I agree with him. If these allegations are proven to be at least, somewhat true, it would not shock me to see some sort of criminal charge against Vince based on these. Now, look, as I said, Vince McMahon built the empire. I'll give him credit for that. He's the man. But you got to believe that his legacy is going to be severely tarnished over what has come out just in the last 3 or 4 years, especially the last 2 years. And it's getting to the point where people don't want him around. There's even, look, rumors in wrestling they're all over the place. But there are rumors that even his own family doesn't want him around. There are rumors that he has a very strained relationship, not only with his son Shane, not only with his daughter Stephanie, also with his son-in-law, Paul Levesque, Triple H. He and Linda, that was blown up years ago. So you got to imagine it's going to be interesting to see how this goes about as far as the lawsuit goes. But fact of the matter is, he's not a good man. He's not by a long shot. And he's getting what he deserved. So, again, Vince McMahon, and again, like I said, this time it's going to stick, resigning as the executive chairman of the board of directors for TKO Group. It's so ironic coming just a few days after they announced not only the big TV deal with moving Monday Night Raw to Netflix starting in January of next year, but then also naming Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to the TKO Group board of directors, plus giving him the moniker "The Rock." So he now owns that moniker, can do with it as he pleases. So The Rock joins the board, and now Vince goes away. And as I said, this is different. This is not Vince is going to come back in 6 months or a year and force his way back on the board because it's not his company anymore. He doesn't own the majority stock. He has bosses. Those bosses got to listen to not only stockholders but advertisers. I would say networks, but the TV deals are pretty much done. So doesn't really have to worry about that. But definitely advertisers, and they rely on those advertising dollars, especially these premium, the premium live events like Royal Rumble, like WrestleMania. Think of it. Snickers has been like a title sponsor for WrestleMania the last few years. If Vince had stuck around, how that would affect that relationship. So, anyway, I'll talk about it more coming up next Tuesday on the regular edition of Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. I don't know who I'm going to have on yet, but it may be Nick Hausman, maybe Emily May, maybe somebody. I don't know. I'll figure that out, and I'll send that out later on down the line. But, again, big news. Vince McMahon resigning. He is no longer connected to WWE, the empire that he built. No longer connected to TKO Group. And like I said, this time, I think it's for real. That'll do for this special edition of Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Again, make sure you follow the show on X at SGTW ATX. Find it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Threads at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Make sure you subscribe to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on your favorite podcast provider, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, whichever one. Subscribe to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Make sure you review the show while you're there. New podcast episodes drop on Wednesdays. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Stu Myrick, and I will see you at the matches.